This is Strengths Based Radio, promoting recovery and well-being through podcasts about mental health. Welcome back to Strengths Based Radio. I'm Josh Kurzbercher, and I'm here with Peter Taylor, who is the author of Smell the Coffee and Wake Up, a Zen Guide to Mindfulness and Self-Discovery, which is part of his Zen Mister series, which originated on his blog, zenmister.com. And welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Josh.
We were thinking you could read from a chapter in your from the second chapter, and what were you going to read?
The chapter is called Thinking, and the essay is Negative Thoughts. So here goes.
All right.
Negative thoughts are thoughts about how bad things are. If you entertain negative thoughts, you may think there is something horribly wrong with you. The way you counteract negative thoughts is to pay attention to them. Pay attention to all of your thoughts. When you pay attention to your thinking, you'll notice each time you have a negative thought. The trick is counteracting a negative thought. The trick in counteracting a negative thought is not to judge it. If you are feeling bad because of your habit of coughing up negative thoughts, then the last thing you need to do is start criticizing yourself for your negativity. That adds more negative thoughts. You also don't want to try to counteract negative thoughts with positive thoughts. If you are not feeling positive thoughts about things, then don't pretend that you are. If you try to do that, your negative thoughts are going to mock you for acting so positive. If you want to counteract your negative thoughts with positive thoughts, you can turn to logic. For example, if you think that nobody loves you, then, to refute that thought, you think about somebody who loves you. Thinking about somebody who loves you makes you feel nice. You don't need to argue with all of your negative thoughts. Just notice them. Notice when you judge people. Notice when you judge yourself. Notice when you predict that something bad will happen. Notice when you worry. Each time you notice that kind of thought, remind yourself that you are thinking again. Check in with your breath. Inhale deeply and exhale. Wait for the next thought. When you get used to noticing your thoughts, the negative thoughts will stop coming as often because your mood will improve. Negative thoughts follow negative moods. If you don't buy into your negative thoughts and assume they are some kind of truth, they will occur less often. When you stop having negative thoughts, you will feel good. When you have no thoughts at all, you will feel amazing.
Thank you. I noticed several things from this essay that I think apply to me as I think they probably apply to most everybody on Earth. Would you agree with that?
I can't speak for you or everybody on Earth, but I would agree. It's a general,
right.
A general applied. People with minds would relate to this.
People who have minds that throw a lot of curveballs at them have to figure out how to deal with them. And so what it seems, what you're saying here is that if you don't buy into the negative of thoughts and assume that there is some kind of truth, they will occur less often. And then you say that you avoid buying into negative thoughts by noticing them. So what is it like, or what is implied by noticing a negative thought? Is it, what is it to you? And
noticing a negative thought is just, it's paying attention to your thoughts and seeing that you've thought something bad about yourself or about somebody else, or just that it comes with a bad feeling usually. So they're tied in, negative thoughts and negative feelings. So if you do something that you regret, you immediately follow it up with a negative thoughts and you reproach yourself. So you just notice that, and by noticing that, then suddenly it's not happening in your subconscious as you're bringing it to your consciousness, and you can evaluate it, and you can notice that you do it, and you can notice longer term habits of it. You just become aware of negative thoughts, and when you become aware of them and bring them to your consciousness, they lose their power. So
how does breath factor in here for you?
Breath is the way to come back to yourself. It's always the way to just separate yourself from your thoughts and come back to your body. So when the best way to counter, or the first way to counteract a negative thought is you see you have a negative thought. Take a deep breath. And you see what the thought is. And the thought does, and you don't, if it's just a highly critical thought of yourself that doesn't have any real evaluative merit, and you just let the thought go. And it's done, right? So that's the practice of counteracting each negative thought with awareness.
And this reminds me of a kind of different approach to negative thoughts than, say, something like cognitive behavioral therapy, which encourages people who are dealing with mental health issues or just want to improve their level of happiness to counteract their thoughts, kind of actively talk them down or talk them away or write them out and write them away. And as I understand it, there's now a sort of growing union between CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and mindfulness, which is that CBT sort of admits, well, you can't always, talk back to your negative thoughts, and sometimes you need to just let them be what they are and let them pass. So that's something that I've been exposed to recently, and it seems like it's a growing trend. Does that strike you in any way?
Yeah, I think that talking back to your negative thoughts, it begins with the awareness of your negative thought anyway. So mindfulness is more of encourages the non-judgmental aspect of engaging with your negative thoughts. So you actively, and you can write them down, like all those are good practices, but you might not be in the mood to practice at any time. You might not have a pen and paper, you might not feel like getting into it with your negative thoughts. But when you're mindful and you're just building awareness, all you have to do is, when you see the negative thought, you recognize it as a negative thought, and you take your belief away from it. So
right.
You have more of a handle. So it works hand in hand with CBT, and it's a natural merger to have mindfulness and CBT, because CBT is a form of mindfulness for the most part.
Right, yeah, and like you said, you have to be aware of your thought to begin with in CBT, so there's an element of mindfulness to it, and you also say in this essay that you don't want to try to counteract your negative thoughts with positive thoughts, and that sort of makes me think of positive thoughts that might be sort of, in CBT they talk about balanced thoughts or neutral thoughts, and a positive thought, what does that mean to you, a positive thought, to counteract a negative thought with a positive thought?
To counteract a negative thought, the advice of not counteracting a negative thought with a positive thought is not arguing per se with your thoughts. It's a negative thought, and if you think the world is lousy, you don't have to say the world is great, because that's not what you're thinking. You're thinking the world is lousy, so by just sort of pasting on a positive thought on top of it doesn't help as much as saying, what's this lousiness about? Allowing yourself to be negative. So you're going deeper into the negative and seeing the feeling behind it rather than just staying on the thought level, saying, oh, I'm going to have a positive thought. So you want your positive thoughts to arise naturally. It's by you can create positive thoughts by thinking about situations that bring positive thoughts to mind, and that's healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. But what you don't want to bypass the negative thoughts without recognizing them, just automatically trying to do something else.
Sort of like not allowing yourself to be in a level of denial about negative things that are going on or negative thoughts.
Right. Allow the negative thoughts to be for that moment of your awareness, and then figure out how to deal with them.
Well, thank you very much, Peter. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you back at the next essay.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Strengths Based Radio. Join us on our website at strengthsbasedradio.org.